welcome back to my channel. Let's jump right in. Everything that you learned about eczema is completely wrong, especially if you are a beginner at this and you're trying to learn how to heal it. So if you go to your dermatologist and if you do quick Google searches, the information that you're discovering is essentially completely incorrect. Eczema is quite different than what mainstream is trying to push about what it actually is. So diving right in is starting with it being topical. So when you go to your dermatologist, they may say, eczema is just dry skin. All you have to do is moisturize it and you'll be fine. And that's actually not correct at all. Eczema is very complex and it's not dry skin. It's an inflammatory condition. And just adding moisturizer to it's really not going to help anything. What it usually looks like when I start working with people is that they go to the dermatologist prescribes steroids, and the person tries the steroids or they refuse the steroids. What's the next thing to do? The next thing to do is go to the allergist and get an allergy test. And the idea of all of this is just very incorrect. So starting with the steroids, when you're applying steroids to your skin, it's essentially an anti-inflammatory. So our bodies naturally produce steroids. Our bodies produce corticosteroids naturally. And when you apply steroids topically, your body stops producing them naturally. So when you try to get off of the steroids, you can experience something called topical steroid withdrawal. Please do a quick Google search. It can be a very, very severe condition that's not actually eczema. It's steroid withdrawal. And so when you're doing this, it's essentially a Band-Aid solution. So it's not actually targeting what's going on inside the body when you have eczema. So let's say you then go to the allergist. This is a huge misconception inside the eczema community, is that go get an allergy test. From the allergy test, avoid the allergens, and your eczema will go away. That's the formula that you're being fed. Unfortunately, this is extremely incorrect. Our body only really has certain true allergies. The rest can be reversed. This is a little bit complicated, so bear with me. If somebody has an anaphylactic allergy to something, that is a true allergy. And so with peanuts, if somebody comes in contact with peanuts, they're gonna have a severe reaction. That's a true allergy. When someone with eczema goes and gets an allergen panel, everything that person's been in contact with recently is going to show up on the panel. So then you think to yourself, oh my God, everything I've been doing is causing me or my child eczema. No wonder they have eczema. No wonder I have eczema. Everything that's on it, it's exactly what I've been doing. So then you go home, you eliminate everything off that list, you still have eczema. And the problem is this is a really flawed misconception here, because allergies in that sense and eczema come from the same root cause. So what essentially happens is when you come across a stimulus, often when your body's imbalanced and inflamed, your immune system has marked it as bad. If your child plays outside a lot, it's going to show grass, it's going to show pollen. If you give your child, or if yourself is eating a certain food every single day, let's say it's bananas, and then that shows up on the list, it's not because your child's innately allergic to bananas or you're innately allergic to bananas, it's because you were consuming them frequently. And when you have leaky gut or intestinal permeability, that allergen can then get into your bloodstream and the immune system marks it as bad. So then it's going to show up on this allergy test. Everything on your allergy test can be reversed through healing naturally, unless it's a true allergy, which some people do say true allergies like peanut allergies, you can have tiny exposures to it and eventually gain immunity. However, we don't mess around with that, right? So if you were to work with me as a client, I don't mess around with peanut allergies. But what I do say is essentially throw that allergy list out the window. That's not actually how you heal your eczema. And where it seems like it's true sometimes is the path to healing eczema naturally is through healing your liver and healing your gut. So your gut is likely imbalanced in a multitude of ways, where there could be an imbalance like candida overgrowth. I talk about this a lot on Instagram. And you could also have a histamine intolerance, but within your gut, a gut imbalance being small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, C. difficile, any sort of imbalance where your gut's supposed to have a balance of good bacteria and a small amount of bad bacteria. It's kind of the opposite, where there's a lot of bad bacteria or bad microbes, because candida is a yeast. It's a microbe, not a bacteria. And so you also can have leaky gut existing in your gut. And then on top of that, your histamine intolerance can come from your gut not producing DAO enzymes. So there's a multitude of things that are going on. Your liver can become overworked, whether this comes from consuming toxins, putting toxins on topically. This is kind of where people start to go non-toxic. However, it's further than that. A major root cause of non-alcoholic fatty liver is excess sugar, excess carbohydrates, or starches in your diet can basically burden the liver. And if you think I'm a crazy person, start looking at Dr. Eric Berg. He will reflect a lot of this stuff that I'm saying. I do all of my research either listening to doctors, research articles, or personal experience from me and my clients. I've been doing this for 5.5 years, so I feel like I kind of have a leg to stand on here. So then where the misconceptions start to go, right? So to heal it, targeting the liver and targeting the gut. And that's how you actually start to heal the body naturally. So another misconception that the natural eczema community has is just go on a diet and your eczema will go away. And so what that looks like is go vegan, go keto, carnivore diet, FODMAP diet, do that and it'll go away. The problem with that is those foods are not specifically targeting detoxification of the liver and healing the gut, and you're probably taking maintenance supplements that are also not targeting the root causes. You never get better. And that's what the whole idea of this video is within coaching people for years and years and years, I see the same patterns over and over and over when people finally come to me and they're like, oh, this is what I've experienced, this is what I've gone through, yada, yada, yada. And it's like, I can understand why you haven't healed because you haven't actually targeted the root causes. Another path and misconception is kind of down the alley of these topicals as well. So, okay, even in the natural realm, aloe's so good for eczema. No. If somebody truly has pretty bad eczema, aloe doesn't feel very good. I will say every single person's body is different, but when just listening to people who don't genuinely have eczema themselves or severe eczema, the advice just isn't really that accurate for people with eczema. I remember going through, when I had really severe eczema, I went to the drugstore and I looked at lotions that said eczema friendly. Every single one burned my eczema. And if your moisturizer feels like it's burning, it's making you more red, it's making you react, that's not a moisturizer for you. And so there's a lot of falsehood going on in this whole thing. So the National Eczema Association will put their label on stuff. They are funded by very big companies, so just trusting that isn't enough, right? And huge misconception is, oh my God, there's allergens in my house. So if I change the sheets, I'm gonna use 100% cotton sheets. They're only gonna be washed in National Eczema Association approved washing detergent. Everything in my house is gonna be non-toxic, and you or your child still has eczema. And that's because you're not targeting the liver and the gut. And it's the real issue of the inflammation. Another real problem is stress. Stress is inflammatory, and chronic stress, which a lot of people with eczema deal with, is very inflammatory. It impacts the liver, it impacts the gut. Our adrenal systems also heavily have to do with eczema, especially if you're going through TSW. Your adrenal systems are critically important to target. So when I work with my clients, I target managing your stress. I target how do we heal the liver through diet and supplement? How do we use foods to heal the gut strategically so that they actually start to feel better? The big key too is listening to your individual body. Well, I saw online that I'm supposed to eat cabbage, but every time I eat it, I flare. Don't eat cabbage. That's your body saying, that's not for me. No, thank you. I'm not going down that route. And you may have small intestinal bacterial overgrowth if that's the case. It loves to eat things that create sulfur. So there's a lot of different factors going into eczema where all the mainstream things are just so horribly wrong with what it takes to heal. And the people who've produced the drugs for eczema know. They know it's the immune system. What do you think Dupixent is? It suppresses pieces of the immune system. Methotrexate suppresses pieces of the immune system. And so, large tangent. I love going on tangents when it comes to eczema. I'm very passionate and I know what it actually takes to heal. So, all that to say is start to trust yourself. Start to trust what your body is telling you. If it's your child and you notice, oh wow, they had a really good day and I did this, trust that. Because a lot of the stuff that's floating around the internet related to eczema just isn't going to cut it, especially for severe eczema. It's just a different beast. So I'm going to cut this video here. Please like and subscribe. This is my channel. This is what I do. I'm also very much on Instagram, a little bit more than here on YouTube with everything. So go follow me over there. You can DM me over there. I do check my DMs. And if you want to join my 1 month long intensive coaching program, there'll be a link in the description. See you in my next video.